So yesterday, AMD actually released their new 7900 XT and XTX series. They released the dates for it, and it's going to be on the 13th of December 2022. So in around a month's time, something like that. Obviously, this is to compete with NVIDIA's 4090 series, and we're going to check out what the specs are on both of these cards, see what they're like for mining, and then we're going to compare it to the 4090 series. So obviously with this tweet, it says, say hello to the AMD Radeon RX7000 series, available to purchase on December 13th, and powered by the world's most advanced gaming graphics architecture. And then it has, a bunch of pictures from the actual live stream that they did yesterday. It was around 12 hours ago that they actually did this live stream. A lot of miners actually covered it. I know Rabid Mining covered it. So we were looking at that yesterday. Now when we go on to specifications of the RX7900 XTX, so this is going to be the most high performance one, and then under that will be the 7900 XT. So we have a bunch of clocks, for all of this. This is really to do with like gaming and stuff like that. But when we look typically for mining, we want to look at power consumption, and then we want to see what type of memory they have and how much memory size we have. As you can see here, for requirements for the power, we have 355 watts and the minimum recommended PSU of 800. Now when you compare that to the 4090 has a TDP of 450 watts. So actually the 4090 takes up a lot more power than the AMD's, just because NVIDIA tends to have more powerful cards, so this is why they need so much power. And this in turn makes AMD cards pretty efficient. Obviously we've seen with the 6900, that was very efficient in Ethereum mining, but didn't bring as much hash rate. But it's good for efficiency, and AMD do very well with efficiency. Now when we look at the memory type, obviously the memory type is GDDR6. However, on NVIDIA they actually have GDDR6X. So a bit faster and a bit better, but they're both 24GB cards. So there is potential there to mine on multiple coins with different DAG sizes. So we have that going for us. Obviously the 4090 has been released now, and we've seen the hash rate. It's a considerable amount of hash rate higher than the 3090, and I even made a video where some coins were actually profitable on the 4090 because of how powerful it was. And then if we look at the 7900 XT, we can see that the power consumption is a bit lower at 300 watts. So obviously AMD are making more efficient cards, and the memory size is only 20GB. So overall the 7900 XTX is probably going to be very good at competing with the NVIDIA 4090. Obviously in their live streams they were talking about 8K gaming and stuff like that, 4K gaming. So you can do all that stuff on it. They were saying that you can run something at like 70 frames per second at 8K, which in terms of gaming is pretty good. Obviously with the 4090 you can also do these kind of things, but it's good to see that AMD is actually catching up. Now when we go back, we can actually look at the price. So obviously they have lower prices than NVIDIA. That's what they're going to do. They're going to undercut their competitors so they get more sales. For the 7900 XTX, it's $999. And then for the XT, it's $899. So they're undercutting NVIDIA by around $500, which is great to see, as the performance for these cards will actually be, not really on par, but they'll be similar to them with a $500 discount. Obviously, people are going to start buying them and trying to scalp them off. But if you're looking for a card for maybe Christmas, then I'd go with one of these AMD cards over an NVIDIA card, just because they are way too expensive for what they're actually giving you. And AMD will perform nearly to the same extent, but for a lower price. Now when we actually look at the hash rate of the 6900 XT, so we're going to roughly base the hash rate of the XTX on this. With the 4090, you had around, something like 25% increase in hash rate. So we can kind of get a feel for what the hash rates are going to be for the 7900 XTX. So right here on autocooler, you've got 110 mega hash. This is probably going to be around, 130, 140. On Cocool cycle, we're going to see maybe around 12 hash per second over the 8.9. ETH hash, it doesn't really matter too much anymore on ETH hash, because obviously Ethereum mining is not a thing anymore, but we're probably going to see, around 80 mega hash, maybe 85 mega hash for ETH hash. So you can mine Ethereum Classic. Same with ETH hash 4G. And then for Fero power, we're probably going to see higher, just because Fero is one of those coins that is catered to AMD cards, so we're going to see maybe like 50, 60 mega hash on that. Ghost Rider will probably see around, 2 kilo hash, maybe 2.5 kilo hash. Kapow, obviously Ravencoin, AMD doesn't produce a core heavy gaming card, so, it might actually suffer a lot more on Kapow, so we're probably not going to see much of a mega hash increase on that. I'm not going to go through the rest of them. The only one I'm going to touch on is Zel hash. We're probably going to see higher because obviously with the Mini Z update, AMD cards got a bit of a boost. But we're going to see around, maybe something like 80 hashes per second. On Zel hash, obviously it's souls per second, but it shows here that it's hashes. But remember, this is obviously at different watts. So with 355 watts to spare, as you can see, these are only bringing up 220 watts at max. Obviously, we're going to have more powerful cards. It looks here that Casper is actually the most profitable coin, as we've seen with loads of other cards. So you're probably going to be mining that if it actually is profitable. I expect AMD to produce a more efficient card than Nvidia right now, but we're going to have to see on December 13th if they actually are profitable or not. I don't think I'll be trying to get a hold of one of these. Maybe when they start selling, I'll get a hold of one of these 7900 XTs because they'll probably be a bit cheaper. And then we'll start mining on that, see which mining algorithms actually work the best for the AMD cards. Obviously, the architecture is going to be pretty much the same to the XTX for the XT. So you can kind of gauge based off that if the XTX is worth it to buy. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to check out the recommended video at the end of this video.